You know what the two greatest dangers in the Christian life are? One, growing accustomed to God's blessings so that you don't recognize them anymore. You just start taking them for granted. And that kills an attitude of gratitude when you do that. When you just take God's blessings for granted. It just kills gratitude. And the second greatest danger in the Christian life is becoming accustomed to your own sin, so that you don't even realize what you're doing. You've justified it in your own mind to the point where you're not even aware, you don't recognize it anymore. And when someone like Malachi points it out, instead of repenting, you get defensive. Oh yeah, what am I doing that's so sinful? And God says that they're using strong language against him. Now, whenever we say in our day that somebody is using strong language, we're meaning they're using profanity, right? And God says, you are profaning me by your language. What language were they using that profaned God? Look at the next verse, verse 14. Ye have said, it is vain to serve God. They said serving God with one's life was absolutely pointless. It doesn't benefit you if you do. It doesn't bother you if you don't. It's irrelevant. It's useless. It's a waste of time. Why bother serving God? You've said it is vain to serve God. And secondly, what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance? Not only is it useless to serve God, but there's no profit in obeying him, in obeying his ordinances. It's unprofitable. He's not worth the trouble. God's just not good for anything. What good has obeying his ordinances ever done us? And then thirdly, what profit is it that we have walked mournfully before the Lord of hosts? We've kept the fast days. We've worn the sackcloth. We did all the rituals of repentance. And look at what it got us. Rent garments and ashes in our hair. What good has it ever done us? You know, a fast is an act of discipline whereby the Spirit exercises control over the flesh. The point of denying the stomach is to strengthen control really over all of the appetites. Because if you can control the stomach by which you live, literally live, then you can control all the appetites. It's motivated by repentance over one's weakness to his flesh and a determination to gain the upper hand in this war over the flesh. But if a person is just going through the motions of repentance, they really aren't seeking victory. They really aren't mourning over their sin. What they're really mourning over is the consequences of their sin. Then they're mourning over their sorrows and not their sins. They're mourning over the consequences and not the commission. They're mourning over the grief that they're experiencing. They're not mourning for God's glory. They aren't really mourning for God at all. They're mourning for themselves. And they're not denying themselves. They're denying God.